Borderlands games are known for their wild selection of amazing guns. Some of them have crazy gimmicks, some being stupid strong, and some, well, some are underappreciated. These are my top 10 best underrated weapons in Borderlands 3.
It's a top 10 list. Do we really need to say we're starting with 10?
Starting us off at number 10 is the Magnificent. This Vladov pistol started off as one of the worst weapons in the game, but since launch it's received 2 buffs. The first was a meager 25% buff, and the second one in March of 2021 buffed it by 200%. If you get the one that has double barrel as the alt fire mode, then this gun becomes a poor man's light show, shredding enemies with ease. What you want to avoid is any Magnificent that drops with shock damage on it, because that means it rolled with a taser under barrel attachment, and the taser is just absolute garbage. The Magnificent drops from Jabber Mogwai and Voracious Canopy, or it can world drop, meaning that you can find it as a random drop from enemies or in chests or vending machines. This gun is best in the hands of Zane, Moze, or Flak, all of whom can easily mitigate the ammo issues that this gun has.
Now let's see number 9!
At number 9 is the Sleeping Giant. This dull SMG can come in fire, shock, corrosive, or non-elemental versions, and can even roll with a ×2 modifier, doubling its damage. The special ability of this gun is that on reload, the next mag either gets no buffs at all or up to 6 buffs at once. Those buffs are as follows: 2 times projectiles, 160% gun damage, 90% fire rate, increased reload speed, increased accuracy, and increased handling. These buffs will wipe or re-roll with every reload, making this a lot like an SMG version of the Lucky 7 pistol, except without a true visual indicator that you got the rolls. The best way to tell if you did get the rolls is to just shoot the gun, but if you don't see your reticle size shrink, then you know that you at least didn't roll all the modifiers at once, and that's where the real damage from this gun comes in. When you get all of the rolls, this gun turns into an A10 Warthog, just burring bullets everywhere. The only downside being that you're going to go through your mag lightning fast as well, but the damage is usually just 1 or 2 reloads away. Also, if you're playing as Zane and you're using the clone, you can use the wild clone active ammo regen anointment on this gun. Moze with her green and blue trees can just avoid reloading at all, and obviously if you use terror ammo regen anointments, you can make this work well on Amara and Flak as well. But like I said, even if you do have to reload, it'll be back to massive damage in a mag or 2 usually anyhow. The Sleeping Giant drops from 1 punch in the sewers of Lectra City on Promethea. He can also drop another really cool weapon, the 1 pump chump.
Don't hate, it's number 8!
At number 8, the Headsplosion. The Headsplosion is one of my all-time favorite sniper rifles in Borderlands. It's an explosive sniper reminiscent of the Cobra from Borderlands 2, except this gun is not astronomically rare, and it actually does damage. The bullets from this gun deal non-elemental splash damage upon hitting their target. Critical hits ricochet 3 explosive bullets at the nearest enemy, and those also deal non-elemental splash damage. With all that talk of splash damage, you guys probably guessed that this thing is a beast on Moze, but it's honestly also one of my favorite all-around weapons to use on my Bubble Burster Amara build as well. What you do is you phase grasp an enemy, then hit them with a crit, watch the entire screen full of red dots explode from a combination of Amara's skills. It's just mwah. Honestly, every Vault Hunter can have fun with this weapon though. The Headsplosion only drops from King Bobo after completing the Rumble in the Jungle side quest on Eden 6 in the Voracious Canopy. Bobo does respawn upon save and quit, so you can farm him as much as you'd like.
Let's see number 7!
Coming in at number 7 is the Krigs Worth. Now this only drops from Wotan and the Maliwan takedown, which means there's probably some of you guys watching that have never had the opportunity to even try this gun. If that sounds like you, make sure you hop onto my Discord server. There's a link in the description of this video. Use the LFG sections on my Discord server to find other players to play with and go take down the best raid boss fight in Borderlands history and maybe score yourself this gun and some other decent loot. The Krigs has a couple of cool features going for it. First, it shoots out 2 projectiles that follow a corkscrew pattern in flight. Once you master this and learn the range to use it from, you can land both projectiles consistently on enemies. The next cool feature is these projectiles deal weapon element splash damage. So on Moze, using Fire in the Skag Den and an Old God with fire element, if you get a Krigs Worth with fire damage, it will do insane fire damage. On Zane, the cryo radiation rolls are top notch. Amara, you can use any element you want. This gun's actually not the best option for Flak, however, so I would avoid it on that character. But the final cool feature of this gun is that it'll sometimes spawn a healing circle at the spot where you killed your enemy, and that circle will last for 10 seconds. The healing from this circle makes the grog nozzle look silly in comparison. Like, you can literally just take any damage enemies can dish out for 10 seconds while you're in that circle. If you pair this with Moze's vampire skill, then you can make Moze virtually unkillable. This gun received a substantial 150% weapon damage buff back in April of 2021.
And now for number 6.
At number 6, the Rowan's Call, and I was torn about including the Rowan's Call on the list, not because I don't think it's an awesome gun, it really is, but because I feel like a lot of players actually do know how good this item is now. But I still get the occasional question asking which assault rifles are good in the base game, so on the off chance that you don't know about this beast, here it is. The Rowan's Call got the Hellwalker buff treatment back in June of 2021, increasing the weapon damage by 300% and making this one of the best assault rifles in the game. It is locked to either fire, shock, or radiation element options, but that doesn't really seem to matter a whole lot with this gun. Critical hits will return 2 bullets to your magazine and ricochet 2 orbs at the nearest enemy. Those orbs deal splash damage of the weapon's element. This gun is amazing on every single Vault Hunter, but I especially love it on Moze, Amara, and Flak. It drops from Red Rain in the Slaughter Star map, but it can also world drop, and your best bet for getting one, in my opinion at least, is to run the Slaughter Shaft with a Schluter on if you have one of those. Even if you don't have the Schluter, you're going to get a ton of legendary weapon drops in the Slaughter Shaft. Just hope that one of these things drops for you.
And here we are at number 5.
At number 5, the Phasor, but there is a big catch to this one. The assault rifle damage on the Phasor is just not good. Even though it got a buff a while back, it just still doesn't compare to other assault rifles. But the alternate fire shotgun option is one of the strongest shotguns in the game. The only downside being that it only has a mag size of 6 in shotgun mode. Now, obviously, you can increase this with skills and class mods that boost magazine size, but really this gun shines on Moze, who can mitigate the ammo issues with skills from her green and blue skill trees, meaning you can keep this in shotgun mode on Moze basically forever without having to reload. What makes it so good is that the shotgun shoots out 6 orbs that deal weapon element splash damage, and luckily this gun has a pretty solid dedicated drop source in Atomic on the Necrotafeo map Tazendir Ruins. You can find them just before you go up the elevator in that part of the map. The Phasor can also world drop, so if you don't want to go farm it from its source, you can try and do the Slaughter Shaft again if you like.
Okay, here we are at number 4.
At number 4, the Roizen's Thorn. This Torgue pistol started its life like a lot of the other weapons on this list. A cool sounding gun, has an awesome skin on it, but it was underperforming until it received a nice damage buff. The Roizen's actually received 2 different buffs. The first in 2020 increased its damage by 53.3%, and the second in March of 2021 increased it by 100%. Now, I know that's nowhere near the Rowan's Call buff, but this was enough to make the Roizen's Thorns a very, very strong weapon. This gun fires 1 corrosive gyrojet and 4 incendiary orbs that explode on contact and deal elemental splash damage. You want to avoid using the sticky alt fire mode, as it doesn't do the incendiary orbs when you shoot it. This gun absolutely wrecks on Moze and Amara, but I've also had a lot of fun using it on my Chill and Kill Zane build before, letting my clone wreck enemies with it. The Roizen's drops from Princess Tarantella and the Splinterlands on Pandora, or it can world drop. Make sure that you don't go for the double penetrating version on this one, because it actually just consumes more ammo and it does not give you any extra projectiles.
And number 3.
Coming in at number 3, the Garcia. Oh man, I love this gun. Like, really love this gun. This Jacob shotgun can roll up to a ×16 pellet version with a 20 mag size. Each pellet can ricochet to nearby enemies. This obviously screams flak, but this gun is fun in the hands of Amara as well, in my opinion. My Destroyer of Worlds flak build can use the Garcia to tremendous success, however, making flak obviously the most ideal Vault Hunter for this gun. Now, the Garcia has gone through several adjustments since launch. In 2020, it received a fire rate and projectile count increase early on, followed by a 100% damage bonus. Then in early 2021, the gun received a 50% weapon damage buff and a 115% fire rate buff. And since then, it feels like a lot of players just completely have forgotten about this gun. Having an easy to farm 16 pellet Jacob shotgun that does great damage is extremely nice. Likely the rise in popularity of the Hellwalker and its infamous 300% weapon damage buff is why more people aren't using this bad boy. But if you want to farm a Garcia for yourself and test it out, it only drops from Chonk Stomp and Floodmore Basin on Eden 6.
Number 2.
At number 2 is the MultiTAP. This Mayhem 6 and above drop from Katagawa Ball and Skywell 27 on Prometheus is perhaps one of the most underappreciated weapons in the entire franchise. An Atlas pistol with the special ability to track enemies with a tracker grenade. Reloading this gun also launches a cryo splash damage rocket at enemies. Anybody who saw my Atlas Zane playthrough should know how busted and fun this gun is, but I never see anybody talking about it, never see anybody using it, and that's a shame because the gimmick is wild and the gun damage is right up there with the likes of the Free Radical. If I had to guess, I'd say that a lot of players used this gun early on prior to its 175% weapon damage buff in April of 2021 and just decided that it wasn't worth using, wasn't worth farming. Kind of like the DNA SMG from Trant, a gun so weak early on that people never came back to it once it got the love it deserved. But in the hands of Zane, the MultiTAP is god tier. But it's yet another entry on this list that all 4 Vault Hunters can use with success. Again, the only way to get this gun is to kill Katagawa Ball on Mayhem 6 or above.
Honorable mention.
Those of you guys paying close attention might have noticed that every item I listed to this point was a base game item, no DLC required. So for the honorable mentions, here are some of the most underappreciated DLC weapons: the Atlas Replay, the Insider, the Beacon, Bloodstarved Beast, Torrent, Boomer, Anarchy, Contained Blast, Convergence, Heartbreaker, Dowsing Rod, Slow Hand, Hydra Frost, Proprietary License, Unkempt Harold, Unseen Threat, and the SF Force, among many others.
And finally, here we are at number 1!
At number 1 is the Hive rocket launcher. Now, this is a returning weapon from Borderlands 2, and in Borderlands 2 it was a blue unique rocket launcher, but in Borderlands 3 they elevated it to its proper rarity of legendary. But at launch, this gun was far from legendary, sadly. It wasn't until a buff late in 2021 that increased the weapon damage by 133% that the Hive truly became what it is. Anybody that's watched me for a while knows how much I dislike launchers, so for this gun to make number 1 on this list, it should tell you just how much fun it is to use. When you shoot this launcher, it sends out drones that on impact slowly rise up into the sky. These drones release homing elemental rockets in all directions, dealing elemental splash damage. The drone will then explode into another elemental splash damage explosion, making this gun an absolute beast for nearly any mobbing situation that you can think of. Another bonus for the Borderlands 3 version is that it can spawn with corrosive or radiation as its element. And let me tell you, the radiation version would make Mr. Torg proud. Explosions everywhere. Want to make things even crazier with this gun? Pair it with the Unforgiven pistol and you can make the projectiles deal increased critical hit damage, or pair it with the Guardian Angel, which is a vault card reward from Season Pass 2 content, and keep your distance from the enemies to deal astronomical damage like I did during my launchers only flak playthrough. Just shoot the Hive multiple times, then swap to either the Unforgiven or the Guardian Angel and just watch everything die. So that's my top 10 most underrated weapons in Borderlands 3. Let me know which weapons you guys think are the most underrated by leaving a comment down below. If you enjoy my videos, please take a second to hit that like button, hit subscribe for more. Thank you guys for watching. Take care.